Have you ever started the year like really pumped about all the things that you were gonna do, and then you got like 2 months in and just kind of forgot and never did anything again? Or even worse, you got to the end of the year and you started thinking about next year's goals, and then you realized that next year's goals are the same as last year's goals because you didn't actually make any progress on them. If you have, it's okay, we're not here to judge. We are here though to learn about how you can set goals that you're actually going to achieve. So in this video, we're gonna talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things that you can do to help you make goals that you can actually achieve. These are gonna work best if you already have an idea of what your goals are gonna be next year. So my suggestion would be, if you already have a list, maybe grab that out, or if you don't have a list, pause the video, jot down a couple of ideas of what you might want to do, and then play through the video and kind of wean it down from there, because really this is gonna be more of like a refining situation rather than a coming up with your goal situation. So once you have your goals, how do you know you're actually going to hit them? That's what we're talking about in this video. So if that sounds good to you, then let's get started. All right, these are not really in any particular order, but a couple of things. Number one is gonna be plan your year first. So if you have your draft of like, here are the things I want to work on, here are the projects I want to do, the next step is going to be to actually go to your calendar and plan out your year. So I typically will do this actually in my bullet journal, and I will write down like every month in just like a little box, and then in those boxes I will write down anything that I already know is happening. So like if you already know that you're going on vacation, write it down. If you already know that, you know, school starts this month, then write that down, because if you're a teacher, like that's a big deal and that's gonna keep you really busy. If you are, you know, like I'm an elementary music teacher, so y'all, December is the busiest month of my life. Like December is typically concerts for me, concerts for the kids, and field trips and all those things. And a lot of that's not happening this year because of COVID, but on a normal year, December is like crazy town. And because of that, I need to know ahead of time that that's gonna happen. The reason is that once you can see, you know, visually on your calendar what you've already got going on, then you can kind of schedule your goals into what you've already got going on, and you can see places where you might come up with friction. So since I am super busy in December, it's not a good idea for me to make like 20 new products in December because I've got a lot going on. So that's not something that's gonna be my priority. And I know because I've got a lot going on that I'm going to have to shift my priority elsewhere. Now, if you're like, Becca, but you're totally doing Vlogmas. Yes, I am. But along with that, I also have like prepped things in advance because I knew that December was going to be busy and I knew I wanted to do Vlogmas. So I've already got like most of the videos for this channel out. I already have like all the products that I was going to make are done, or I have a couple that I'm just kind of working on, but they don't have like big deadlines. And I really intentionally made sure that this month was not as crazy so that I could do those things. And that's what I would suggest to you. So if you know certain months are going to be crazy, then put less on those months. And if you know certain months are going to be busier or less busy, then you can put more on those months. Along with that, actually take your goals and kind of think through when you're gonna do them. So my best suggestion is to put them into quarters. So you can take your year, split it into 4, and then you have quarter 1, January, February, March, quarter 2, April, May, June, I just forgot the months of the year, quarter 3, July, August, September, and then quarter 4, October, November, December. That way you can kind of split your goals in those 4 sections, and that'll help you just to spread them out. So it's not like in January you're doing 75,000 things, then you give up because you're exhausted and you have nothing left to give. So spread them out so that you have time to dedicate to each thing, and be aware of when you have other things going on. So you could also do like by month if you would prefer that, to the 3 months. However you want to do it is totally fine. But just my point being, look at what you've already got going on before you start planning a whole bunch of things, because you have to be realistic about the amount of time you've got. All right, point number 2 is to come up with very specific tasks. I love, if you have followed me on Instagram for a while, then you have seen the many mind maps. One of my favorite things is to mind map and to write down all the ideas of how I can move my business forward, how I can achieve my goals, you know, whatever it is that your goals are. And that's what I would suggest to you. So a lot of times people set goals that are kind of like not very specific. So they're like, I want to make more money, or I want to lose some weight, but they're not super specific, and because of that it's hard to then achieve them because you don't really know what you're doing. So instead what you want to do is you want to have very specific things that you can do. So if you want to make more money, how are you going to make more money? Oh, well, I need to make new products, or I need to write more blog posts so that I'm sending more people over to my shop. You know, whatever it is, have specific tasks lined out. If you want to be a blogger this year and you want to blog, then your specific tasks would be things like start a blog, you know, buy a website, write a blog, post a blog, you know, things like that, and just having those really specific. So for me, those specific tasks are typically things like blog posts I know I want to write, products I know I want to create, you know, all of those kind of things that I know are going to help me. And just having those actual tasks listed out means that I actually know what I'm doing, and it makes life much easier. Number 3 works if you were thinking like, oh, well, I have a goal that's kind of like all the time, it can't be broken up into quarters, then number 3 is for you. And that is to have specific checkpoints as you go. So especially with those big goals, you want to break them down and have specific checkpoints as you go. So really easy example, if you have a certain amount of money you want to make this year, divide it by 12, you now have your monthly goal. Now, if you're a TPT seller, then you might want to adjust that a little bit. I typically divide mine by 10 because June and July are going to be like very minimal, and so I basically don't calculate those at all. But the point being that I now have that checkpoint. I know if I hit this each month, then I'm going to hit my yearly goal. Cool. If you're trying to lose weight and you have a certain amount of weight you want to lose, then your checkpoints would be, you know, each pound or each 5 pounds or whatever it is, so that you have those checkpoints and you're working towards your goal and you know whether you're hitting them or not. If it's like, I want to have a certain number of products, then that would be, you know, each of your products is now going to be a checkpoint, and every time you get another one, you can, I mean, you can literally make a list and check them off so that you know where you are. But the idea being that you just know you're making progress or you're not making progress, and you can see that either way so that you're aware, and so you can fix it, and so you can keep moving forward. Number 4 is one of the most important, and that is make it exciting. I feel like sometimes goal setting, people are like very bored by it, but goal setting should be exciting, because goal setting is like, this is what I want to do this year, this is what I'm planning, this is my, you know, vision of what this year is gonna look like, and then you get to make it happen. Like, first of all, what is better than deciding what you want and then making it happen? Like nothing. But that being said, goal setting can seem boring, especially if you're setting not very exciting goals. So make them exciting. A couple of ways that you can make your goals more exciting. Number 1 would be to do them with a friend. So if you are wanting to like run a 5K, get a friend and run a 5K with them. Or maybe your friend is, you know, a furry dog. Those work too. They like running. They really like running. Another way you could do that is by just kind of like the ambiance. So maybe like every time you sit down to work on your business, you light a special candle and you drink your favorite peppermint tea or whatever it is, so that you have those like warm, cozy feelings as you're working, and it makes you more enticed to do them. Number 3, you could have a reward at the end. So once you hit something, then you get something. That's one of the best ways to get yourself motivated towards a goal, if you get something out of it. So that's a great thing that you can do. And the last one is just make sure that they're not boring. And by that I mean, make sure they're not too easy. If your goals are too easy, then you will not care about them, and then you will not achieve them. So make sure your goals are exciting enough, they're interesting enough, they're, you know, up in the air about like whether or not you're actually going to hit them, so that you actually want to put the effort in, so that you'll get the effort, you will reap the rewards out of it. Those are the words I was looking for. And I lied, there's one more, and that is to make your goal more exciting by making sure that it is relevant. So if you have goals that are just like not related to anything, you're probably not going to want to do them. So if you're like, I want to read 30 books this year. Cool. Why? What is the reason? You know, what is the reason behind it? And that why is going to help you. So maybe your why is because I want to become more educated in a certain area. Great. that is much more specific, and that's gonna tell me that you need to like read books in that area. But if you're just like, I wanna read books, but you don't really like reading and you don't have a good reason to, then you're probably not going to make it happen. If you know, pick a random number out of the sky and you're like, this is the number of dollars that I want to make this year, and it's not related to anything, then you're not gonna be very interested in it. But if you have a reason connected to it, so it's like, I want to make this much money because XYZ, that's great. You know, I want to make this much money because I want to buy a house, or I want to make this much money because I want to pay off my student loans, or whatever that is. Those things are actually going to make you excited to go for it. My camera battery is flashing at me. Please hold. And we're back with number 5, which I realized I kind of accidentally already told you, and that is only pick goals that you actually care about. If you have goals that you are not actually invested in, then you're not going to want to hit those goals. You're not going to want to work on those goals, and then you're not going to achieve those goals. So if you're wanting to set goals you're actually going to achieve, make sure that you care about them because they're either fun, or they help you move forward to like your long-term what you want in life, or they, you know, are relevant to what is going on in your life. If you want your goals to happen, then they need to be, you know, relevant to your life and interesting, and you want to do them. That's the whole point, is you have to make yourself want to do them. If you don't want to do them, then you will not do them. All right, the next one is for after you've already picked out your goals, you want to put them somewhere obvious. So what I don't want you to do is take your goals and write them down in a notebook, close the notebook, shut it, and never look at it again. Or write them down, stick them in a drawer, and never look at them again, because those things are not helpful. Wherever you take whatever you do with this goal list, it needs to be super, super, super obvious where it is, and you need to see it often so that you remember it. Because 6 months from now, are you going to remember all those things you wanted to do? I don't know. It probably depends on whether you've been thinking about them for the past 6 months. Because I know exactly what I wanted to do this year, even though it's currently December, because I've been thinking about it every single day for the whole year. So a couple of ways that you can do this. You can create a vision board. I have a vision board. It's more like my long-term goals than my short-term goals. So it's more like bigger things. There's a lot of stuff on there that I'm not anywhere near close to hitting, but it's still, every time I look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I'm working towards. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm headed. That's what my life is going to be like. And it just really helps me to see that long-term, like where I'm headed and why I'm working. And especially like I can see it from this couch, and this is usually where I work. And so if I can see it, then I'm like working, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I'm working. And it, you know, helps fuel me over. You could also just hang like the list on the wall. You could split up your list and make like a kind of a collage, but have like a, this is, you know, number 1 I want to do, and then a picture. That could help. You could frame it. You can set it in your next to your office. You could make a vision board on Canva and then make it your desktop background or your laptop background so that you see it every time you open up your laptop. You could make it your phone background so you can see it every time you open your phone. You could tape it inside a drawer that you often use. Just make sure nothing's on top of it, so then every time you pull open the drawer, it's like, here's the thing I need every day, and then here's my list that I can see every day. There's lots of different ways you can do this. You could also rewrite it every day. That's a really common one that I hear people say, like rewrite your goals every day. I have actually been doing that. It does actually help because it really keeps them in the forefront of your mind. And that, like, whatever it is, the point being, make sure that they are top of mind and you are thinking about them, because if you forget about them, then you will not do them. So very important. All right, next one is one of my favorite things, and that is having weekly and monthly reflections. So I, as a person, am one of those people who like always wants to get better at whatever I'm doing. I am an Enneagram 1. It is a little bit of my nature, but still, it's very important to know what you're doing in order to know where you're going. So every week I have like a short little review where I'll just say like, okay, did I do things that helped me get towards my goals? You know, what did I do? What was working? What was not working? And those quick little check-ins are really helpful to me, especially on a weekly basis, because sometimes I get to the end of the week and I'm like, I did nothing. And it was kind of a waste of a week. And then I can like address that, realize that happened, and change it going forward. Or I can be like, man, I crushed it. I need to keep doing these things that I've been doing. And so that's just like a quick little check-in of like what's working, what's not working. Am I hitting my goals? Am I not hitting my goals? And then at the end of the month, I have a more of a longer reflection where I'll really think through like, okay, this month as a whole, how did it go? What worked? What didn't work? what things can I check off of my list? What things can I scratch off? What do I need to work on next month? You know, am I continuing things? Am I done with things? All of those things you can figure out as you are just kind of looking through and making sure that you are reviewing weekly and monthly. You don't need anything particularly fancy for this. You can just do it in like a notebook. I usually do this in my, actually weekly, I do this in my full focus planner, which I happen to have right here because it's always very, very close to me. So this is something that they do. They call it the weekly preview actually. And so you go through and write down your biggest wins and then your after action review. So every week you pick 3 things that are the most important things for the week. And so did you hit those or not goes there. What worked and what didn't. Will you keep, improve, start, or stop? And then there's some stuff that I don't use. And then you pick your big 3 for the next week. And there's like a self-care planner and important deadlines and stuff like that. But this section of this page is really the one that I do the most, is that like what's working, what's not working, what did I do, what did I not do, just like really quick. And then on a monthly basis, I do that in my bullet journal, and it's a very similar questions, just kind of on a grander scale. And then I will also make sure I calculate all of the money that I made that month so that I know where I am over the year, because I do make money goals, although they are much, much, much harder to control because it's not like something you totally control. You know, if I need to make a product, I control how much I work on that product. I don't necessarily control how much money people spend on my products. And so that's harder to do, but it's still really good as a benchmark to make sure that your business is doing well and to also just make sure you're on the right track. So I do think it's important. I do that every month just to like check in, and I also like to look through, you know, like where's my traffic coming from, what products are selling the most, and those kind of things, to just check in and see where I'm at. So whatever your goals are, have a weekly review and then also a monthly review. So the weekly review can be just like a quick little, what am I doing? How am I doing? Do I need to change anything? And then the monthly review can be a little more in depth and just really make sure you're on the right track. And the last thing is not really a tip, but it's really what this all boils down to, is if you have goals that you really want to do, you have to commit. Your goals will not happen unless you really, really believe in them and you really believe that you can do it and you really make the effort to do them. If you just, you know, stand somewhere and say, oh, I want to do these things, but you make no actual effort, then they're never going to happen. If you would like these things to happen in your life, then you need to make sure that you commit and you fully get into it. People ask me a lot about like how my TPT shop does well, and that's the biggest thing I can tell you is from the very get-go, from the very beginning, I was committed and I was like, I'm doing this, I'm putting in the effort, you know, and I continue to put in that effort because I'm very committed. If I wasn't committed to it, it wouldn't happen. And the only reason it's gotten anywhere is because I committed to it. So if you want to do something, you have to commit, you have to believe it is important, you have to know why it's important, you have to care about it. And that's not something I can really like help you with. It's just a fact of the matter that if you want to do something, you have to really, really commit to it and really, really care and put the pedal to the metal so that you will actually get the work done. If you don't put the work in and you don't commit to it, then it's not gonna happen. Now that was kind of a downer, so let's end on something a little bit happier. A new course. So my goal setting course is out and available as long as you are watching this in December or January. My master plan is to open it every December and close it at the end of January, so that way people can really like get in there, get with other people, and keep themselves on top of their goals. It is a pretty quick one. I really wanted it to be something that wasn't going to take forever. So it's pretty quick, but it walks you through every single step of setting goals that you're actually going to care about and achieve. We talk through all sorts of things and how to get specific with like how to make your shop make more money as well, because that's probably what most of your goals are going to be if you're, you know, here on my channel. So you can click the link down below in the description to check that out. And if you are not watching this in December or January, then you can follow me on Instagram at Becca.e.davis, or you can join my email list, which I will link down below. And both of those places I will make sure to shout from the rooftops when it is available, because I plan to open it every single year. So with that being said, I would love to know what you thought would be the most helpful in your goal setting practice. What are things that you already do that help you achieve your goals? And if you're really feeling brave, I would love to hear at least one of your goals, maybe like your least scary one. You can let us know in the comments because I'm nosy and I just want to know. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.